How can we make systems that can always feeding back and refinancing and regenerating in different levels? Because the regenerative systems is not just about ecological regeneration, it's about social regeneration, like economical regeneration, cultural regeneration, and how all that always gives back to that circular system that is constantly feeding and refeeding and multiplying even that economy. Like a seed, from one seed should turn a tree that turns like thousands of seeds, right? And that's life. It's how it works.
Welcome back. This is super exciting. I'm here going to introduce Steph Ferrera. Now, she is, you could kind of call her a female Elon Musk, okay? Leading visionary of merging blockchain chain technologies, regenerative economics. Regenerative economics. What do you see what that means? Founder of real world impact projects, including Tulum Coin, Refi Rides, Cacao Bits. It's powered by tech. It's a collaborative circulation action plus honoring all traditional wisdoms. I mean, just brilliant. Steph, thank you so much for coming on. And this is beyond exciting. Can you share your story? How you became this, like, literally a visionary activist?
Thank you so much. I'm super excited and super happy to be here. So thank you so much for the invitation and for that beautiful introduction. It's inspiring for sure to see what is being weaved into all of these manifestations now, no? First into just concepts or ideas. Since I was like very young, I always knew that there was a better way, that it was not totally bad. Like we were not lost as humanity, just waiting for the apocalypse. I always knew it, that we know that we have the tools to make it happen and to find those spaces of dreaming life or life dreaming or dreamed life that we can really stay at, right? So my background starts a little bit on that road of traveling around the world and connecting and learning a lot about like permaculture and going to like eco villages and seeing all of these different solutions for a better way of doing things for life in a way more sustainable way. And learning all the tools, doing like things with my hands to connect with the earth and to build with clay and to like learn a lot of different tools and things that help me to see that other ways were possible and that there was a lot of people around the world with that same vision of having a nice world with great music and friends and food and that reality of living it. um and then I spend a lot of time with this community women, quite focusing women circles. And I did this thing that it was called it's called a menstrual cup. So it's like an alternative for women, and that we were teaching them how to use it, how to connect with like the cycle, the moon, and all that into women's circles and spaces, festivals, indigenous communities, like always weaving this part of like part of my path through the eco villages and the permaculture and all that learning. uh, was very connected as well with ancestral wisdom, with elders from different cultures, like telling all of these different visions and stories of understanding how nature will work and balance and everything just in that divine order, right? Beyond that, um, those things that sometimes, yeah, are um, told in certain way in this like religious cultural way, you understand this visionary difference of this ancestral um yeah cultures. I guess I don't know if I'm going to like, but it's kind of like the inspiration of that, like trusting that that's possible and then seeing where the lack of the systems were, that it was mostly on like the organizational tools, the financial real like follow up on who puts what where, how it's this real tracking on how people is building a system that works really in a better way. um, and then the world of blockchain technology and all of these smart contracts and automatization of the agreements that you can have in between parts of things, and that then can like back into this real value of art or of the community verification of who is really making that um, system, that base, that piece, or that yeah, contribution at the end. No, it's like, how can we simplify our system for contributions to start being more valuable, because then you start thinking on what's the value on it, where's that what's backing the value, or what. And then a lot of people confuses price with value, and then like there's a whole like deeper understanding of where value is replaced on people's day to day, or alignment of the life and the beliefs. With that, it's way easier to create an economic system that can be reliable to these values, that can be really be backed by it, because I just saw that the whole system that is backing right now these ways of acting doesn't have that much sense, and it's actually not taking that like much of a efforts to be personally and of course collectively by it, but like personally changing those steps into making more conscious steps in any way. So in the ways of like going to, in a basic example of one of the things that I'm putting into action with the Tulum coin, for example, is how can you go to a beach and instead of just complaining that it's dirty, you go and pick it up? And how can you make it bigger and make a party to pick up? So then like we do the beach cleanups, and then we take everyone, and then we get someone to get the food and the drinks and the things, and then it makes it into something that it's way more cool to do in the group, and you multiply the ways of like the amount of trash that you can pick up, just you going with your little bag, or your 100 friends and community to really get 300, 400 kilograms out of the beaches every time we go, right? So we set that system into having every time more um like ways to reward these actions and these systems that are needed. And that's the proposal implementation of a community currency, a community reward that gives this, like the Tulum coin, right? Like, okay, you go come to the beach cleanup, you get 100 Tulum coins, and then with that you can go get a drink, or you can save some of those and then have an access to an event that is normally a couple $100, or like these different benefits as community.
It's amazing. You're using technology, you're using completely different stuff for a modern version of the barter system. I mean, and we talk about regenerative health all the time. I'm talking to you from my farm that it's going to be a regenerative farm, and it's just a little tiny place in California. But like regenerative currency, these are terms that I've never heard until I've heard about you. A circular economy. I mean, this is mind blowing stuff. Can you expand on those things?
Yeah,
Cir-
absolutely. It's like exactly what I was expressing about the value change. Is like, how can we make systems that can always feeding back and refinancing and regenerating in different levels? Because the regenerative systems is not just about ecological regeneration. It's about social regeneration, like economical regeneration, cultural regeneration, and how all that always gives back to that circular system that is constantly feeding and refeeding and multiplying even that economy. Like a seed, from one seed should turn a tree that turns like thousands of seeds, right? And that's life. It's how it works. So um, these regenerative finance systems are quite like yeah, fast expanding around the world. For example, there's like refi DAOs, refi nodes around the world. Refi Lisboa, Refi Colombia, Refi Tulum, Refi. We are like the founders of the Refi Tulum one, Refi Mexico City. I'm also quite close and involved. Refi Guadalajara. Now we're launching Refi Austin. Right now I'm in Austin, and we're gonna be doing Refi Austin. So all of these Refi nodes around the world will connect through these efforts of financing and supporting these community circular economies that can help feed projects like yours, for example, in a better way. And like all of these farms, all of these solutions for electricity, for waste management, for water treatment, all that, we can get it going. We don't need to wait for it to happen from a system that needs to be healed in so many different ways. We can make some things happen in our own actions of way within our own company. So any type of business can turn into something more regenerative, implementing these solutions or this basic analysis on how it can turn more circular. And in that, it's even like better, and it's greener in all the ways, right? Because once you implement this circularity, it also helps in your profit in everything.
Maybe this is just like rumor, but didn't El Salvador, they're accepting the Tulum coin?
No, not the Tulum coin. They're accepting Bitcoin. I mean, they're different, the different currencies, right? Like the Tulum coin is just like a local currency that hasn't been like accepted in different places. It's just for the Tulum community for now. But there's going to be more currencies that are connecting more like wider way, like Bitcoin does, or like Ethereum or Solana, or all of these cryptocurrencies that are like more wider blockchain platforms. That what we're doing with the Tulum coin itself is more like a community effort that then can connect through a lot of different local community efforts, that it like connects to a global network. You know what I'm saying? So it's like acting more in a globally, but locally, that you can yeah, interact and communicate with the different nodes. No?
Very cool. And you got another project called Refi Rides.
Yeah.
What is that?
So exactly, Refi Rights is one of the net workers, net builders of a lot of the Refi nodes, for example. So Refi Rights, it's a vehicle co-ownership platform. So you are able to have like a lot of people is like traveling, or some people even have like 4 vehicles in their house, but there are really 3 that they don't really use. They use one. Sometimes they use another one, but there's a lot of people that has like vehicles there that can be entering to a system that utilizing our clean and energy provided fuel, that like pet gas or Eden or like the hemp. There's different solutions, biodiesels and stuff, that can be tracking those kilometers or those miles that are running with this cleaner energy. So you're helping for every like kilometer you're running, you're cleaning the oceans, right? Because you're utilizing the plastic produced fuel to run it, or electric. So of course, no, we already have that, like the fleet that we have, it's for like motorcycles, electric motorcycles, and we're getting a couple of like more vehicles for like electric Teslas and stuff, that can be like a shared ownership of a platform that can also allow more people to use these better transportations in a more ownership format, right?
Okay, so you've got the regenerative currency, the Tulum coin. You've got the Refi Rides, and you've got cacao bits going on. What's cacao bits? Is it nutrition, plant-based medicine? I know cacao is amazing.
Cacao is the best. Cacao is actually the most like ancient and sacred currency from like Latin America, or like this area from Mesoamerica. We used to use cacao as a currency, right? But cacao right now, it's one of the bases of the world's like most consumed thing, that is chocolate, right? So it's a really valuable thing for our society, for like worldwide. But it's also passing through these process of not being the best way of taking care of the cacao itself, and it was some things happening in Africa growth, so the price of the cacao went like crazy. So we're like using that um like proof of how valuable cacao is, to back the ecosystem of a tokenized system with the technology of this like blockchain traceability of having like a DAO. And if you are like an owner of the farms, you have certain amount of tokens and certain like type of voice in the whole DAO. If you're a producer of if you produce different things for cacao, or if you're a product seller, or if you are a cacao bar or a cacao ceremony person, or there's now this also concept of like a ecstatic dance concert that people just drink cacao instead of drinking beers and alcohol. People drink cacao, and that's a thing, right? So it's moving into this network of that, and plus all the chocolate products itself that sells from that, and it creates like a network of these farmers plus all of these people that through the technology can interact worldwide. So it doesn't matter if you're like in Africa or in Europe or in the United States or in Guatemala or in Mexico, you could be weaving through the same network that supports each other. So in all of these projects, I have like different partners. Some interweave because a lot of the projects are like very connected. So some is just like projects that just connect like the refi rights connecting to all the nodes. But the nodes are also going to be kind of like utilizing Tulum Coin's frame to do their own rewarding system for the community. Like that's always been like the objective of Tulum Coin, to create like this frame for communities to do their own system. And then the cacao, it's kind of unifying all of this. And it's like proving how can we use this blockchain technology beyond these like um, complicated things, but allowing the basic things of traceability, transparency, shared governance, and being able to vote on proposals, having a budgets to support these farmers, growers, entrepreneurs, people that has this heart but maybe doesn't have the capital, or people that has the capital but doesn't have the people, and connect all of these nodes to be able to fast track all of these efforts for regeneration, for planetary regeneration. I'm absolutely sure that we are able to get systems in place in every area of our lives that can track into these better ways of doing things, into becoming like something that it's regenerating while we live, instead of destroying what we while we live.
Mind-boggling. Okay, so they used to use cacao as currency. Okay, and so you're talking about, instead of printing paper and calling it money, I mean, fiat currency that has actually no value, it's just paper. Okay, you're talking about utilizing the assets of different countries, the ones that are producing it, the farmers, and then tapping into that actual thing that's worth something. Talk
Mhm.
about honoring traditional wisdom with modern technology. Incredible. What do you see like the role decentralized systems? That's exactly what you're doing, and regenerative financing. How do you see it's gonna? Because it is starting to transform societies, and people are losing their faith. Because I mean, in America, we just went through 4 years. Don't work, we'll just print more money. That's stupid. Uh, how do you see it, like literally? Because there are major social shifts. How do you see it taken over?
I mean, I really seen that personal steps of being able to click green personally and to do it better, and to have these reward systems and these like hand by hand for people to have better like solutions. Of course, the step of the mobility can help in a lot of ways, but it's also about the food. It's also about the education. It's also about the access to the living, to really having like a beautiful home environment in all of the places. So these systems that we're building are going to help people to get closer to this like well-being in all the ways. So I do see that it is a matter of connecting all those points, because there's nothing that needs to be like totally rebuild it, or we're not reinventing any type of wheel. A lot of things are already done, but our efforts separate like independent efforts, that once it gets a little bit more connected and people are able to say, oh yeah, I'd rather buy from here that I know it's going like super clear to the good chain of production, and I just get it once a week in my house, and it's like a whole system that works better. There's like systems that can make life for people for life easier. And for example, now with all the robots and the AI coming, so much people is going to be with like no work and nothing to do. And like there's like the people, there's a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of people like being scared of this future of like the AI and the robots taking over. And it's absolutely a possibility that we can see this coming soon, and then it's like, what is all of these people going to be doing? This is the way, right? The only thing, the only way that we are going to be able to change this and flip this whole thing is that every human takes care of their own like square meter, you know, of knowing that this one part of it, it can be just your little piece, right? So it's like adding your little piece to peace, then we can get the world peace, right? But it's the personal peace that needs to be well facilitated.
I mean, when you think like ancient wisdom, okay, they say to change the world. I think it was Gandhi. You got to change yourself. To be responsible for your purchases, like what you're using to purchase, what you're buying. What are you supporting? I've got some patients that've been living in deep south in Mexico, and they've been studying ancient wisdom for 50 years. And the three women, the corn, the beans, and the squash, just a perfect protein. And they were talking about 6,000 years. There was an economy that ran from South America to Canada with no armies, and they got along for 6,000 years. You're leading that.
So yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know if you ever heard about the cosmic race.
No, no, what's that?
But yeah, the cosmic race is like the unification of all the cultures that we are at right now. Like we have in this America continent, we have the mix of all of the different bloods, of all of the different cultures, of all of these things that is like turning into this new fifth race that gets into this like unified cosmic race that has like all the understanding for from this, right? And it turns into the beauty. It's like actually this year is turning 100 years from the book. If one of my ancestors wrote it, it's called Jose Vasconcelos. um and you can see the that vision of the regeneration, the beauty and the art taking over, because that's part of this like message as well, right? Of this collection of the Bird of Eden, that is like, how can beauty can like inspire to save the world, right? How can that beautiful like water light connection can just like take that message further to this hope, and they say, yeah, it's possible to recreate Eden. We are beautiful.
This is tying in finances, which scares most people, tying in changing, the paper fiat currency to actually real stuff where we're responsible for everything. And we are making the world a better place. Okay, how can my audience follow you and participate and get involved? I know we're going to have links and stuff down below, but what's your suggestion?
Yeah, I mean, definitely you can follow my social media. And we're gonna share my link tree, so you can check a little bit of all of the projects that I've been sharing as well into different links, and my Instagram, and yeah, Twitter. It's Steph Ferrera Steph Ferrera Coatl. You can find me there. And yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can be connected. It depends on what resonates more with the people, if they want to help the plastifying the planet, if they want to help supporting cacao farms, that's also going to be a frame, because we're going to enter a lot of other different production, like food production chains. Like cacao is just going to lead the way, right? Kind of cacao is like the Bitcoin. There's like the grandpa things, but then it's like, how can we really start putting all of these like real value behind the transactions that we agree on that relationships and communities. So for sure, like, just yeah, connect to me. There's gonna be the links here, and feel free to write me a DM. Like, I'm very excited to weave into connect. And if you have any ideas, any platforms, anything that could be adding to all of these things that we are talking about, please do so. We're weaving that. We need you all to be part of this. So yeah.
I'm going to be promoting the heck out of you. And hopefully, this is part one of two parts so I could learn more. I mean, because we've got in our local farm area, we do barters all the time. You're trading for eggs, for avocados, for grapefruits, and it's just it's more human. It's more of a connection. Dear, thank you so much for taking time. I know internet connections, and what part of the world are you in now?
I am in Austin right now. Yeah, in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, last week I was in my clinic in Bangkok. So, and I
Okay,
got a clinic
yeah.
in Tijuana, Mexico. I was there yesterday.
Yeah, I normally I'm in Tulum, but yeah, I also travel a lot. But I am in Austin for like a week and like 3 weeks now or something like that. Yeah, I really love it here. We came for the Region World gathering during South by Southwest, and really good heads and people that is leading all of these movements got together. So like a lot of more things are going to be connecting these days. So excited to this second part to tell you more updates about all of the things.
Steph, you're a world changer. God bless you. Thank you so much. I want to support you in your mission. You rock.
Yeah, thank you, John. This is amazing. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Kat, for the connection. This is amazing. Thank you so much.